Show me something.
Hello and welcome back to the Show Me Something podcast. My name is Will.
I'm Trevor.
And I'm Jacob.
And this week I brought the boys the 2009, I think was the initial release, but 2010 might have been the American release, film from Jacques Audiard called A Prophet, Un Prophète, in its native French. It is a French film about a crime boss in prison, starring Tahar Rahim, who has gone on to have a pretty notable international career. He was most recently seen in The Mauritanian, which I haven't seen and don't know anything about besides the fact that it has Jodie Foster.
Heard of it.
It came out last year and it got some level of buzz. He's in it. Yeah, so we'll jump into that in a bit. How are you both? How's the week been going? Any housekeeping to take care of before we jump in?
No. I mean, I'm doing okay, drinking this cotton candy guava beer
Nice.
from Energy City Brewing.
Is that one of them from the
good.
app?
Yes.
Nice.
This is still some of my app beer.
Where is
It
Energy
is-
City?
Ooh, that's a good question. Church Street Brewing Company, Itasca, Illinois?
Illinois.
Itasca? I don't know. I
Something
can't
like
pronounce
that.
things.
Probably
I can't
pretty
read.
close.
Hold on.
I've got uppercuts and laser tag from Dissolver. Did y'all play this level of laser tag? This
What do you mean?
particular
What do you
gun,
mean?
does it resonate with you? This particular design of the gun?
Not particularly, no.
I don't
Wow.
think so.
No, we had it
So-
was like badass.
Is that one of those home? Is that one of those home ones? Like
Yeah,
the ones.
this
Yeah.
is like-
Okay. I think I had something similar.
This
didn't
is
have a
home
home
laser
one.
tag from probably like 99, 2000. I just noticed it right before we started recording. This is like, I don't know who the brand was or what the
Probably
toy manufacturer
Hasbro,
was.
Mattel.
But this is a huge, like, it threw me for a fucking loop. You would wear like a little strappy over chest piece, and it was like all very janky gray and blue looking. Anyway, this is from Dissolver Brewing. They're in Asheville, North Carolina. Classic hazy IPA for me.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How
I
about you?
didn't have a laser tag at home. I had Nerf guns at home, but laser
Me
tag was
either.
always when I went. It was like a birthday party. You'd go play.
This
laser
was
tag.
also a thing that Matt Forster had, a kid I just mentioned who
Right on.
also had Pokemon Snap on his N64 that I played. He had all the goods.
He had all the good shit.
Yeah, he had all the good.
You
shit.
went over there. He was
Shout out-
living like
shout out
Richie
to Laser
Rich.
Tag. Yeah, I mean, what are you gonna do?
I think I had like a really cheap home laser tag thing at one point.
Yeah,
I want to say
I believe it. You got
if
the
it
land
wasn't
for
me,
it.
it was a cousin. If it was-
That's fair.
But yeah, I'm drinking the toasted lager from Blue Point Brewery. It's pretty good. Not as heavy as the
very
other
good
Blue
one.
Point one that I had, the 9.6er, so which is good. Don't need that right now.
No, certainly not. Did y'all watch anything good this week or play anything good, listen to anything good outside of our podcast materials? that
I
we're not
started
gonna talk
playing
about?
PUBG again. And I didn't mention this in last week's recording. I did start watching Game of Thrones again from the beginning.
No way.
Yeah, I'm on season 2 right now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
What number watches this?
I don't, well, because like it depends, because I would watch it all the way through before
each
a new season. So like truly all the way through, I've only done it once because like I've only seen the newest season.
That
once.
doesn't count, I don't think.
But I've done
I would add,
rewatches.
how many times have you started from the beginning to watch it up to the current point?
This is probably like maybe the fifth time.
Yeah, I've seen it
like
4
that.
times.
Yeah, something
That's
like that.
I don't think that's, I don't think, I'm not sure if. I mean, it's
still just as
ending.
moving. I'm still crying constantly, like almost every episode.
Yeah, but the ending sucks a ball sack.
I
don't know.
I'm
if
excited
I
to
can ever
get
watch
there
it
though
again.
because I want to see it again from the perspective that I have. I want to
Fair.
watch it again.
Fair.
Very fair.
I mean, the one episode.
Because I've only seen those last two. I've only seen the last season once, and then season 7 I've probably seen twice. So like I don't even remember that much stuff from season 7. Like I can't pick anything out.
Just the one episode where Daenerys releases the dragons on the Lannister army, and everyone
Field of
thought
Fire?
Jaime died.
Or what was it called? No, something.
Are these spoilers? Are we talking? Like,
Well,
If you cared about Game of Thrones at this
probably
point,
watched
you
it
should have
already.
already seen it. Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry. We can.
Yeah, fair enough. No, that's fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, if you watch the show and you haven't finished it at this point, it's kind of on you.
I agree.
But that episode where Jaime like dives into the water and they use the harpoon gun for the first time.
The ballista.
That episode is unbelievable. I don't know what season that is.
It's season 7, I think. Season 7.
And season 8 is the last one, right?
Yeah.
Season 8's like almost entirely forgettable to me.
Season 8 has like the battle at Winterfell, and then like when Daenerys goes crazy, and Cersei has no lines. She doesn't say a line in the whole season.
Bro, it's just such a
Not a
it's such
single
good
line.
show. It's such a good show for 5.5 years. I feel like, and then it just absolutely tanked out.
Yeah, it was good
Anyway,
for a really long time.
We could talk for a whole month's worth of episodes about that fucking show.
Oh, for
probably.
sure.
We could just do a whole episode. Just why not?
Yeah, I mean,
But,
maybe for the Patreon.
Yeah, for the picture.
For the Patreon that doesn't exist. I guess I've been. I'm still working on Red Dead. I'm in the prologue finally.
This
Great
will
game.
be like the 10th Show Me Something
Fantastic
in a row when
game.
you've been playing Red Dead.
Yeah, well, we've recorded
Been
a bunch
playing Red
in a row.
Dead.
To be fair,
It's a long game.
It is a long game.
It's a very long game, and I don't play like
You're definitely
as
taking your time
much as I
with
would
it, though.
like because
He's not.
yeah, I
nowhere
definitely
near
go
as
around
much
and do
as-
side
It took
quests.
me 3 years to beat it.
Yeah, but
Trevor's
that's
flying
because
through.
you gave
Damn.
up though. He's like just strolling through the wilderness.
I mean, is that not the most fun part of the game?
yeah,
That's
I love just
that's
wandering
fair.
around.
I love that. I love the side quests. There's some really good side quests. It's anyways.
Trevor's out here
I've been
getting
doing
all
that.
legendary animals and stuff like that.
I didn't do that at all. Yeah, I didn't do any of that stuff.
Yeah, I've gotten a bunch of them. I haven't gotten all of them yet. I need to do that still if I can. What else? I've finished most of my shows I've been watching this season, anime wise. Season's
Did you wrap
over.
up Dr. Stone?
So either, yeah, Dr. Stone's done for the season.
Are you
that was
caught
really
up?
I
good.
haven't finished it yet. No.
Okay, no talk then.
Slime, reincarnated as a slime is on its break because it's still continuing.
What did you just say?
Such a ridiculous name.
Green Carton is a slime?
No.
I didn't know what you just said.
No. Reincarnated as a slime. That's
Yeah.
not the full title, but that's.
I know
part
what
of
you're
the
talking
title.
about.
Reincarnated as a slime.
Because it was
That's a
advertised on
wild-
Crunchyroll.
I was reincarnated. Yeah, because that's a big show. It's really good. Secret Dungeon only I can enter. That wrapped up. That was
What are
hot
these
garbage. I
names?
loved every minute of it.
Secret Dungeon only I can enter. So sassy.
Yeah, that's the name.
Amazing.
It was horrible.
Ooh,
it was legitimately
really?
a terrible show, and I loved every.
Better
yeah,
or
I
worse
loved
than
every minute
Oran
of it.
Host Club?
How much Nazi
much
propaganda
worse.
was there?
Probably a lot.
None. There was no Nazi propaganda.
striking
it wasn't
amount.
about. It wasn't about Nazi dungeons.
BDSM Nazi
no,
dungeons.
No, it was just just a fantasy show.
Right on.
I'm behind on a
cool,
couple
cool.
other shows. But I've been watching all that kind of stuff. It's been good.
Right
I'm
on,
excited for
brother.
next season. I started a show from a while ago. I'm almost done with. Welcome to Demon School. It's like a demon high school bullshit show. It's cute.
Sounds awful.
And then
I think because of Oran Host Club, I'm fully anti-weeb again. I can't do it. I'm done. I've had
No,
enough.
you're gonna get back. You're gonna get back.
No, you ruined it.
You're gonna
You
get
ruined
back.
it. It was glorious for a second.
He had 1 week.
You had 1 week where I watched Dr.
You had
Stone and I was
1
like,
week.
that shit slapped. And now I'm like pissed.
Anime's the
I haven't
get-
even
you
I haven't
gotta
even
finish
gone back.
Dr.
I haven't gone back to Dr. Stone since then because of that.
You're broken.
I'm broke.
Sad.
Broke you.
I
Wasn't
think
as
there was some
bad
other
as
shows I was
Trevor.
watching. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But yeah, good stuff. And then I think that's it for me. Actually, I
Yeah.
think that's everything.
Let's jump into
Cool.
I'm excited.
to the reviewies.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just say briefly.
Well,
I'm playing Disco Elysium for the first time.
That's what I was waiting for. Yeah,
A much heralded RPG that just hit console this week. I don't really know a whole
The
lot
fully
about it.
voice
It's
acted
just-
version.
Yeah, it's a detective RPG. Came out in 2019, and has now been released as re-released as the final cut, and it's fully voice acted. There's like over 1 million lines of dialogue or some shit like that.
Jeez.
It's really great so
It's
far.
insane.
I'm like maybe
I'm
2 or
so
3
hyped.
hours in. It's been great, and then beyond that, just kind of hanging out, working, making music, doing the damn thing. All right, cool. Let us jump into the review section. Trev, what'd you think?
So, it wasn't bad. I didn't dislike it. Did I love it? Nah, not really. I'm gonna, it was fine. I don't dislike that I watched it. I will never watch it again. Some of the plot stuff, once we get into it, I'm gonna talk, some of it, maybe it's the language barrier. Some of it just didn't make sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
Felt like a French art film I watched in college a couple of times.
I don't
like
think
one
it
of
was
the
that
many French
artsy.
art films I
There's
watched
some
in
pretty
college.
artsy French films.
No.
It's no Cleo de Saint.
Oh, extremely.
Oh, that's a great one.
It's
Banger.
it's it's nothing crazy, but there's a couple of moments where I'm like, yeah, that's really French. Like that was,
Interesting.
Now
that
that's
was
what
like
I
a
now
French-
that's what I
a
call
French
French
film.
cinema.
That's what I call French cinema. Yeah, exactly.
That's dope. I would buy that.
All the
CD.
hits. All the hits. It was an interesting story overall. It followed some of the tropes of the gang stuff, which not against it for doing that. It was good. Overall, 7 out of 10. 7.5.
I could take it.
Yeah, 7.5 out of 10. It was fine. It was fine.
Cool.
I would not, if someone said, I want to watch a gangster film, I would not ever even think to recommend this.
Yeah.
They're like, I want to watch a French gangster film. I'm like, I know one. I know of one of
I've
those.
seen one. Okay, you're
I got you.
you're vibing in
Yeah.
that conversation.
Yeah. All right. That's cool.
Yeah, all right, okay.
I respect that. How about you, Cobb?
Yeah, it was all right. It was long as fuck, bro. I feel like it was long and it
That it
felt
was.
long to me. And I feel like that was because for a lot of it, I didn't really know what was going on. I was confused for some of the plots, and I feel like it's probably because I didn't know a lot of the people's names at first and throughout a good amount of the movie. And I also just don't know the interconnection and drama between these different regions of this area,
Sure.
between the Korsians, the French, the Italians, and the Muslims. I just have no idea. I don't know anything about it. I'm I didn't even know who the Korsians were until I looked it up on Wikipedia, and I was like, it's an island off of France.
Corsicans.
Corsicans. And yeah, I was just confused for a lot of it. I thought the main actor did a really good job though. Playing Malik. Caesar was a bastard. I fucking hated him. I hated him so much.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of times when I was just like, man, why is he even just around this guy at all? But also French prisons seem a lot less hard than American prisons. You have a full apartment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a full-on apartment as
That
you
was
sell.
insane.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was all right. Too long, took too long to do anything, in my opinion. I'd probably give it like a 6.5, 7 out of 10.
Cool. Yeah. So this is my second time seeing this film. I watched it when I was in college. So it's been close to 10 years since I've seen it. I loved it at the time. Definitely not as high on it watching it for a second time as I was the first time, which is kind of one of the joys about this podcast, is that we can bring stuff that we have fond memories of, but maybe isn't quite as good as we remember it to be.
It does happen sometimes. It's happened with me.
Yeah, I am not quite as low as y'all are. I still think it's a really good movie. I think it's definitely pretty French. It's very slow. I actually don't have the same opinion that it is slow and it drags and felt long. I think it's actually really propulsive, but it is in a different way than we're used to, probably, especially coming off of the back of Goodfellas and Scarface. Like, those are very different tonally and pace-wise. This one is much more bleak, I think. It's like not really a movie that you're gonna feel happy during at any point.
None of
beyond
it.
maybe there's like a couple moments where I like chuckled, but it was also maybe like a nihilistic chuckle,
A nervous
Like,
laugh.
yeah. It's I think it's very tense. It's definitely it makes sense to me that I loved it as a 20-year-old.
Yeah.
Like I was like, damn, this is fucking amazing.
Damn,
like,
this is French.
This makes me feel awful. Like, I love it. And definitely not quite the same reaction to it as a 29-year-old. It can be really tough to watch. I think there are some absolutely brutal scenes.
Yeah, for sure.
There's a lot of really, it's well handled and well done tension, but it's not really pleasant to watch this movie. I don't think any of us would say that it's a good, easy watch. It's tough. And I was about an hour in last night, and I was like, Jesus Christ! Like, this movie is super dark and heavy. And there's a place for that. I kind of agree that I probably will never watch it again. It took me 10 years to rewatch it. So obviously
maybe in another 10.
Yeah, maybe.
New group of friends. Me and Trevor will be dead and gone.
What the fuck? I don't like that line of thought at all.
Abby's going to be pissed when she hears that.
Something bad happens.
Yeah, when I'm pushing 40, maybe I'll get the urge to watch it again. But I think that while I'm not too far off of y'all, I do think it is probably worth watching for a very, very particular mood that you're in. If you want something dark, violent, new to you, I mean, obviously it deals a lot with, like Cobb mentioned, French and Corsican political relations. And yeah, I mean, I think the main point is Tahir Rahim's performance as Malik. He is
very good.
I mean, he's unbelievable.
Yeah. I think that's the saving grace for me, was how good his performance was.
And just like, the character arc, I think, is really cool. We'll talk about, obviously, in more detail, the specifics of the film, but yeah, I mean, it's tough. I also think that Cesar Luciani, who's like the Corsican mob boss in prison, is absolutely and he's a complete bastard, but his performance is so good.
He's an animal.
He's an absolute animal. And just like, if you think of quiet intensity, like, this is that guy. So yeah,
I just have so many questions about that. We need to get into spoilers.
Yeah, okay, cool. I
have a lot of questions about a lot of things.
Yeah, all right. I'm at 8 out of 10. I think it's worth watching if you're in a very particular mood. I wouldn't recommend it to most people, probably.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's very violent. It is there's French, there's Corsican, there's Arabic. So it's kind of all over the place. And don't watch it if you're looking for like a lighthearted romp in France. It's very much not that.
I do want to add on to mine that I still feel like it was worth watching. I don't think that it wasn't worth a watch. It's definitely still worth a watch, like especially
Yeah.
if you're just trying to broaden what you've seen.
It's a well-made film
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
a really like career-defining performance, but it is a brutal watch. I don't
Yeah.
think it's it's not. I'm not pulling any punches.
Just be
to say that.
prepared.
Yeah, be prepared. Just
Yeah.
like grab a blanket.
Like I didn't know what I
and-
was getting into.
Yeah, I gave no.
I had
context
no
for it.
idea. I thought
Like
I knew,
last
and I
week,
didn't.
I picked the French choice out of the two you gave us just for fun because I was like, it'll be fun to watch a French film. Who would have thought it would be like? Who would be like this?
Not fun, not fun at all. Yeah, I did kind
That's
of.
good.
I gave an option about should I kind of continue this gangster thread that we're on because of Goodfellas, or should I go down another path that is relative to other things that I won't spoil? And yeah, the consensus was French gangster.
I think I was the only one that voted though. I don't think Trevor voted.
You were. Yeah, but no vote versus a vote is still your.
Trevor abstained. And he walked
Yeah,
away.
I did. I was like, I have no idea. I was like, sure, both of them kind of fit with what's coming next, I guess.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
You just voted present.
Cool. All right, that's our review section. Let's jump into spoilers. Take it away, boys. Where do you want to start?
Yeah. So my question is like, how does this guy have any power anymore at the point when like his buddies get released and he's down to 5 dudes? Like,
Yeah, I think it's just legacy power.
I guess 'cause he's
that's crazy
legacy
to me though.
power,
This
and he
dude's
still has
weak
a bunch
bitch.
of the guards in his pocket.
All right.
barely.
Like,
I think that's.
I'm sure the outside, but the outside, I'm
has, like,
sure
that
is still
one
also
guard.
keeping some of the guards. No, listen. My thought on that
Listen.
is that he has the power because the outside, because he's still part of this council or whatever, I guess,
no idea. He runs
has
a
power
casino.
because they still need to maintain control within the prison because some of their guys could still get pinched and end up going. So you can't just drop these guards and then what? Nothing?
Yeah.
Like nothing for the guards, and then they come back later. It's like, hey, we have guys coming in. It's like, sorry, somebody else owns us now.
Listen,
Like, what are you gonna do?
I understand that stuff. Like they have some guards on their side, but like the whole like gang on the other side, like all the Muslim people that are there, and more Muslim people are being brought to this prison for whatever reason. Why are they not just
Racism.
like taking their chance earlier than it happens in the film? Like, I just feel like it takes
Yeah.
there's like a whole
Are-
hour later in the film before anything ever happens with that. I'm like, he's got 5 people. And
So
a guard,
are they a
one
gang?
guard.
Are I didn't think the Muslim guys were a gang though. I thought it was just like them just sticking together because they knew each other.
Yeah, I
kind of
only
thing.
refer to it that is because it's like sides in a prison. You know, it's
Right.
like there's like a clear
guess,
definition
but, like-
line. Like they're on one side of the prison yard and he's by himself like a fucking loner on the other side.
Yeah. But like he still has power, whereas they are like, and is still a part of a gang, whereas
Yeah.
they are not. They're not running
I
any
think
sort
it-
of operations. They're just people.
I feel like that's not answering
Yeah.
my question at all.
I think to maybe get closer to what you're looking for, Cobb. I think it really culminates in the conversation that Cesar has with the guard. Right? He's asking. It's when Malik suggests to Cesar have some hacks who I'm assuming are like guards that are on payroll.
Yeah.
Go fuck with them. Fuck with
Yeah.
the Arabs.
That's the scene I'm thinking of, yeah.
So like, and the
Go
and the
search
guard
their
is like,
cells
I
and all
can't
that.
do the things I do for you with 5 people versus the things I did for you with 20 people.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of moment where it's like, okay, this man's power is waning, you know?
Yeah.
But I do think that like,
But there was an
just
hour
because-
later there was still a whole hour of the film left. Like,
right, but I think well, yeah, but that the whole hour of the film left is Malik realizing that he's got there's a weakness there and that he can exploit it, which I think is amazing. I mean, again, this is my pick. Clearly, I'm going to be
Yeah.
the person who speaks positively of this moment. But I mean, I love Malik's arc. I love that he comes in as a no one who is bullied and disregarded by his quote unquote community, picked up by the Corsicans for doing a murder that he can do because it's another person of Arabic or Muslim descent. And then he he elevates to being the boss. I mean, that last scene where he's walking out of prison and there's just Mercedes following him as he walks away with his best friend's wife and kid, and they're just like, that's his protection. Like, he has 3 full cars of people who are gonna die for him. I just like that arc is really cool to me. But
that was interesting. That was cool. The last scene, I will not lie, that was interesting. But why didn't he get in a car? Just get in the car.
He was vibing for a little bit.
They wanted to he wants, man. He just wants to walk around. He's been stuck in confined places for 6 years. You know, he wants to have the freedom of movement.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, I understand, Cobb. I do. If that's your main frustration.
Yeah, I just feel like my question can't be answered. I don't think.
No, I don't think that it can. I think
I think it's just the way the film was made. It's just what it is.
It's just the way the film is played. But I think Trevor raises a good point that the Corsican, Cesar is part of a crime syndicate.
A movement on the island.
They have connections. They have people on payroll. They have people inside and outside of prison who are affecting what's happening their own language in the prison. Their own language.
They're smuggling stuff
Arab
into the
section
prison.
Of that prison does not have a syndicate. They don't have people within the prison on payroll. They don't have people outside the prison who are affecting people who are on payroll. It's like the balance isn't really there. So, yes, you have 20 people versus 1, and I can see the argument that, why don't they just go and kill this guy?
Yeah, the muscle.
Attack him.
Pure muscle.
But don't have the same foundation as he does, I guess, behind them.
Yeah.
But then, I mean, Malik exploits that, he
basically
does what he needs to do.
I think that's why it happens at the end of the movie is that Malik turns them into a gang, essentially.
Yeah, it just takes so long.
It does take a long time, but he has to wait until he can occupy the power vacuum, I guess, if you want to put it that way.
Yeah. Yeah,
he can't just create the power vacuum. He has to then be able to have the resources to occupy that as well.
Yeah, I completely agree. How triumphant is that scene in the yard when they finally punch Cesar in the stomach?
That's pretty great. I did finally seeing it, but I wish they would have killed him.
Yeah.
I wanted them.
Well, you can't kill him in open like that.
Why not?
You can't
You're in a goddamn prison.
Because then you're there for life.
Unless you're already...
I think a lot of them probably...
Yeah, if you're already in there for life, then fine. I doubt it. Most of these guys, it seems... if you're going out and about, you're probably not. That's why they got to do all these deals with, Yeah. They got to go and, sneak into rooms and make it look like a suicide and all that fun stuff. You can't just have it be... in the open, because you can't cover that up. There's witnesses and there's guards that are not on payroll looking and all that stuff. You don't do stuff like that in the open. That has to be behind closed doors.
Yeah.
Where there's deniability and whatnot.
Yeah. So that's our first major sticking point. What's our next?
Okay, I got mine.
Oh yeah, go for it.
I'm going next.
I said go for it.
I'm going next.
Fuck yeah, Trev.
They talk about him being a prophet once. That one guy mentions it. He sees the deer hit. Yeah, there's the scene when he's in the prison, in his cell with his guilt ghost. That's what I called it most of the time. It was a guilt ghost. And they were predicting the movements of the people in the yard. But there's the deer dream. And that's kind of it. He predicts the car getting hit by deer, and suddenly this other guy is like, "Oh, are you some kind of prophet?" We get the title drop, basically. Hey, look, he said the title, and then that was it. It's never really brought up again. It's not like he uses some sort of power, or is it more like him gathering people around him? Is that what it's more influenced by? It just seems like such a random plot point that they bring up and then never talk about again. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I don't think that maybe I'm not wired the same and that I'm not looking for the title to make sense in a film. I'm not
either necessarily, but they say it. That's the thing.
Yeah,
When they
but
say it in the movie, then I want it to make sense.
Who's to say that they're not naming the movie after that particular point? You know, like with the chicken, it's like the chicken and the egg conversation. Like, what came first, that scene or the title? And they had to work the title into the film, or do they just think that this is kind of resonant and like it's cool to name the movie after this particular scene? You know what I mean? Like, I don't. To me, it doesn't really. Like,
It still does.
They
Like,
say Goodfellas in Goodfellas, and it's like this is just kind of goofy that they.
yeah, because it makes sense though.
Yeah, they are
Yeah.
good fellas.
It makes sense. They are in fact good
That's
fellas,
what they call each other.
which is a term that is actually, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Like-
So then, I mean, I don't place a ton of stock in the film.
Yeah.
The title of a film being resonant. To
I
the
mean, I
plot.
don't either, but I did know that you were gonna bring it
doesn't-
up.
it
Trevor,
doesn't-
when I heard them say it, I was like, Trevor.
The
Did you
title-
really?
Yeah, of course. Trevor loves when they
The
say
straight up-
titles.
He loves when they
I
play
don't-
the
no.
title song. That's different.
No, he loves both.
That is true.
The man loves both.
But no, the title can be nothing to do with the film. That's fine. But the fact that they have this whole scene about him predicting the future and then someone explicitly calling him a prophet because he predicted the future, and then they never talk about it again. That's the part I'm hung up on. I don't give a like, fine, it could be called something else. It could
What
have
would
been
you call
called Corsicans. It could have been called anything. I don't know. This scene still doesn't make sense.
It is a
The
weird
scene
scene.
still doesn't. He
I
has a
liked that
dream,
guy,
and then he
though.
predicts, and then the guy calls him a prophet, and then they, for some reason, like each other despite the fact that he killed his friend,
Yeah,
and then
fuck
that's it. It's over. It's done.
done.
That's
like
a great
what?
reveal.
What?
When he tells him, like,
what
I'm
was
the one
the
who killed
point?
Rahab.
Yeah, that was a cool. That was interesting. I'm surprised he didn't shoot him, but still, what is the point of that scene? There's not a point to it. They could have had all the tension with the guy pointing a gun at him, and then they still hit the deer, and he still, after the shock of all that happening, say, I killed him, by the way. It was me. Here's kind of like a brief reason why they told me to. And then it's all fine. It would have been like, oh, okay, and then it moves on. The plot moves on. No change in the plot, but they had to include the fact that he can see the future or something, and then never bring it up again. I want to know why.
Yeah,
Am I wrong?
Will, why?
I feel like I'm just getting nods. I'm just
I
getting
don't know.
nods.
Don't
I
ask me.
We don't have an answer to
Dang
your
it.
question, Trevor. We didn't make the film. I don't know why it was titled The Prophet. I don't know why that scene existed. That is not a scene to me that strikes me as like particularly worthy of micro-examination.
I mean, I think it probably is. I just think I'm not smart enough to to do that.
Yeah, or we're not French enough, you know?
Yeah.
Who the fuck knows? I don't know. I love the
Probably,
scene
just-
afterwards where he's at the beach, and I love all those little moments.
Yeah. Because they build up to that scene, too.
That's-
He,
and
he
it-
has a dream beforehand, like, before this even happens. It's just like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Who knows?
Maybe there's some aspect of French culture regarding deers and prophets that we aren't aware of. You know, I don't have an answer for you. I wish I did, but yeah. I
That's
don't know.
very possible. It's okay, dude. I just I needed that to be brought up, and I needed someone to say something about
I'm
it.
sure if you, like,
Somebody.
search it on YouTube, you'll find your answer.
You probably will. Yeah.
Maybe.
All right.
Somebody
so
that's
that's our
written an essay.
second major gripe. What's our next major gripe?
Oh, it's not a gripe. I just thought the stuff with the Force Ghost was cool.
With Rahab.
Yeah. Like, every time
Yeah.
he came back up in the cell,
guilt
like,
ghost.
all the cool stuff that was happening. Like,
Yeah.
he was, like, on fire in one of them and, like, doing all sorts
He
of
has the
different
finger lighter. He smokes
Yeah.
out of his neck.
shit. Yeah, the neck thing was
like-
cool,
That
too.
was
Like
cool.
Trevor
The scene,
mentioned, he
smoking out of the
predicts the
neck thing was
movements.
cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah.
love that. That's a really cool way to visualize guilt, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, it's obvious. It's not super innovative, you know,
No.
obviously that thing that's been done before, but
It was cool,
I
though.
think it's handled well. It kind of just like pops in and out, like Cobb said.
Also, that scene of him actually killing him is fucking brutal. It is
Oh, man.
so
Yeah.
brutal.
It was cool.
And it's
But also
so
he screwed
early
up.
in the film too.
Yeah,
It's
I was
just
like, holy shit. I was like,
because so yeah, let's hit that real quick. I mean, so Malik gets to prison. There's probably 20 minutes of him trying to like figure out what his place is, and then relatively early on
I think a lot of it is him trying to just stay under the radar.
For sure.
Right? Like
for
a lot
sure.
of the early bit is like he doesn't really want a place. He just wants to serve his time and go.
Right. And that's evidenced in the conversations he has with the prison officials, like, who's going to send you money? Are you religious? Like, do you pray? And he's like
no.
Pretty much just shrugging to all of these things.
No to everything.
Like, he's just here. You know, he's been in the system throughout his childhood, and he's just continuing to be in the system. But so you kind of have this, like Cobb mentioned, this period of being disoriented in the first 20 to 30 minutes. There's not really a consistent through line of plot. And then all of a sudden, the Corsicans realize there's a new person who speaks Arabic and is
A loner.
able to, he's a loner, and he is able to kind of, you know, crack the facade or get in with another person who is Arabic.
It seems like they also heard about his conversation he had with him in the shower, because they straight up bring that up.
Yeah, I don't know how
The
that
guy in the
happened.
shower yesterday.
It must have been a guard thing, or like someone in a different stall,
or an informant or something.
Yeah, but they use him, and Rayab is a snitch essentially, right? He's passing through because he's on trial, or he's going to be part of a trial. But from the moment,
terrible place to keep a witness.
Yeah, terrible.
You wouldn't keep them in like the population, right? You wouldn't like if it was a snitch, don't you always put them in protective?
You either put them in protective custody,
I don't know
or
how French
I guess in his case,
prisons
because in my opinion, if he's still like being tried, but he's just getting a lesser sentence, put him in solitary.
Yeah.
Or something. Keep him away from everyone else. Like, he did his best to try and avoid other people, even without help.
Yeah. Well, he was. I mean, and they do. That is a plot point, that he's in not solitary confinement, but he is hard to get to, and I think that's why they have to kind of go for Malik to be their kind of quote unquote in. But so it's like
he stays in a cell and he doesn't eat the regular food. He only eats the bread.
Doesn't keep his door open.
That's bizarre.
You know, like doesn't
they get
leave the
full
cell.
baguettes in French prison.
My first note was
I
baguettes.
know.
That's insane.
What
That's
the
awesome.
hell?
They eat a full baguette for.
That's so much.
It's very French. It's very French.
That's the most French thing I've ever seen in my life.
But still, prisoners get entire
Full
baguettes.
baguette, maybe two.
They looked so good too. I just wanted bread the entire.
I don't know.
movie.
A couple of those seemed not firm.
They were floppy.
A couple of them were
floppy
bent.
ones. Yeah.
Well,
It is prison.
yeah,
Just flopped it
it's
over.
prison. Yeah, exactly.
You get some old baguettes. But anyway, the first 30 minutes is kind of disorienting, and then there's like, I mean, what is it? 30, another 30, in which it's him building up to murdering Rayeb. And there's like
God, that took so long.
shower scenes. There's scenes in his cell where he's being coached on how to use a razor.
Yeah, that
He's
was crazy.
Putting the razor in his mouth and having to hold it there, and he's just like spitting blood out. It's just like
Brutal.
it's so brutal. It's so brutal. And then the scene where he goes to Rayeb's cell finally is absolutely devastating. I think his performance there, both of Malik and of Rayeb, are very good. The little details, you know, like tying the door shut.
Yeah.
The pass of the hash, Malik focusing on the books, making him tea and coffee. It's just like, what did you guys feel when you saw the blood dripping out of his mouth?
I
thought he was
figured
gonna
he
get
was gonna.
caught.
Yeah, I thought he was gonna just. I don't know. I thought he was gonna leave or something. Like he was just gonna postpone it. Like
He stands up like he's about to leave.
yeah. Like I didn't think that graphic shit was gonna happen. I was like, oh fuck, because really nothing graphic had happened yet in the movie.
Yeah.
Not explicitly.
Had you watched?
had
either of you watched the trailer before you watched the
No.
movie?
No, I went in cold, blind, and scared.
Wow. Yeah, the trailer would have given you a little bit of a hint, I think.
I thought a little bit that he was either, like Jacob said, going to leave, or just going to say kind of what he did. But I didn't think it was going to turn. I really thought he was just going to bail on like this weird mouth maneuvers that they were trying to teach him.
Yeah, he couldn't
like,
do it.
Get it in your teeth and then slit like with your mouth. It's like, that seems really weirdly tough and excessive. Like, just quick, like, just like rub your mouth, pull the razor out, and then just like just swipe or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, dude.
So I thought he was just gonna do something like that, and then he still tried to attack him with his face. It was like,
even though he was like a couple
What?
feet away from him, he's like,
Yeah, he lunged for sure.
it's like, what?
Yeah.
So that was kind of
It's a brutal
almost
scene.
funny to me in a way, but it was
I
pretty
definitely
brutal.
didn't
But it
think
was
the
cool.
scene was funny at all.
When he first
I
lunged
disagree
with the razor in his mouth, I thought it was kind of
No,
funny.
it was
but-
very intense and very
Not a funny
disconcerting.
scene. Trevor's laughing, cheers in his beer to his dad.
What'd you guys think about the... Also, I'm completely wrong because I said 30 minutes in that happens, but 32 minutes in is the first time Rayeb shows up as a ghost. So it's like, it's within the first 15 minutes, essentially, that he gets...
See, it felt long.
Well, Rayab shows up as a ghost, like sleeping behind him pretty
Force ghost.
fast after that murder.
Yeah.
He
I
is
think it's
Obi-Wan
probably like 10
Kenobi.
minutes after the fact that he kills him, but still, I'm thinking like 45 minutes into the film, it's actually like 20 minutes into the film that this is all
Because it feels long.
So, like,
It's
long.
It feels so
I
long.
also, so this
so
is another thing I want to
French.
talk about is that the perception of time in this film is pretty fucky. Like,
Yeah.
all of a sudden it pops up and it says 1 year. You know, he's like, they're celebrating like essentially like it's filmed and written as if it's his birthday, but it's his 1 year in prison. And it's all of it just comes out of nowhere. There's really no passage of time beyond his hair growing. And that is
I
only the
also
first
like that
bit.
every other scene he either has a mustache or just shaved it off.
Yeah, yeah.
I wanted him to just
Also-
keep it. It was a sick look.
He had it
Real
for
quick,
most
do-
of the film.
It was on and off, dude.
French prisons don't have a uniform all the time.
You know, you can
it
wear
seems
whatever
like-
you want. It's France.
It's like the only time they had uniforms was when they were working, like on the
Yeah.
jeans and stuff.
Yeah.
Like
I also think
I was so
that-
surprised. I'm seeing people walk around in like polos and leather jackets.
suits, full suits.
What the fuck
Well,
is
he's also,
happening?
I mean, he's part of the group that is running the prison, essentially. So,
but
like,
nobody had prison
Yeah,
uniforms.
no- Nobody
yeah,
did.
that I agree with. But the bit about like apartments for cells is really just the Corsicans. Like, we don't see like Malik's first cell isn't an apartment. Like, it's a fucking cell.
It's still pretty big.
It's still pretty
It's
nice.
big.
It's pretty
no,
luxurious.
It's big and it's by himself, but it's not.
He has like a private toilet. Like all these like things I see, it's like literally open bars, a bed, a metal toilet with a sink built on top of it, no extra walls. This thing
Yeah.
had walls, drawers, a desk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He had all sorts of stuff in his room.
He had a fucking PS2 at one point. That was pretty sick. That was later
he
on in
did.
the
That
film.
was-
but-
He also
Cool.
he had porno mags like very early.
and he had
Yeah,
a
before
fucking,
he got
he had a
hooked up.
whore at one point.
Yeah.
Well, that was after
Graphic
he got,
sex scene.
like with the
So
like even in his first cell, he had all sorts of stuff.
yeah.
It's just like what is? Damn.
It's France, baby.
Like,
What did you guys think of the POV shots?
I don't remember
Yeah,
many.
I don't
POV
remember him
shots.
either.
There's like 4
Ignite
or
my
5.
memory.
It starts with the POV shot where the your vision.
Oh, I
it's,
remember
like,
that one,
incredibly
yeah.
narrow.
That's where
There's
his
a
eye gets
few-
Does
fucked
he have
up.
a? Does he have a vision problem?
His eye gets spooned
That's
out.
actually.
But it happens way before that too.
Oh, that's when I remember it.
The first
can he
time
not
he
see
speaks to
properly?
Caesar, he has it. It's just like a pinhole camera. It's the very first scene where he's being, what's the word? Like he's being checked into prison. I don't know what that word is.
Processed.
Processed. It's going through like a pinhole camera. It happens like 3 or 4 times, and I was just curious if clearly it didn't resonate with either of you. But
No, the only part I remember it is after his eye gets spooned, and I was like, I guess
Yeah.
his vision's fucked. Makes sense.
it does happen then, but it has happened 2 or 3 times before that point also.
And
He should have
after, I
killed
think,
him
if I
in
remember.
that scene. He should
He should have killed him at any number of points, you know, like
I just.
I mean, he
this
never
is
does,
This
so.
is what I was talking about in the beginning. You should have.
He actually
killed him
got
at any point.
I do want to talk about. He seems like he was sad whenever he had his guys go punch Caesar. Did you not notice he got like he seemed like he choked up a little bit?
I don't
So,
think he
like-
choked up, but I think Caesar made him who he is, you know,
Fuck Caesar.
despite the fact that he did it in a terrible way. He's obviously a gigantic racist piece of shit.
Well, all of those courses.
He's a
And he
fucking
allowed
clown.
he allowed him to be abused for, X number of years, used him as, whatever he used him.
Porter.
Yeah.
And a spy.
Right.
And a hitman.
All of the above. But there was still
and a bag boy.
There's some level of respect there, oddly enough. I don't really know why, but
honor amongst thieves, somewhat kind of thing.
Hell
I
yeah,
guess,
Sly
maybe.
Cooper. Sly Cooper 2, baby. Let's go.
Fuck yeah.
I never played Sly Cooper. I
Dude,
should have.
Great game.
Me neither, I didn't play it.
I was a Ratchet and Clank guy.
That stuff, we haven't talked about it at all. When he's like allowed outside of prison for the day.
Yeah.
What is that?
Prison leaves a thing.
Is it? I
Yeah.
haven't heard of such a thing.
Yeah.
You just
He
like
has to go
if you
check
seem-
in.
you like get out of here.
Like, obviously has a kind of a fucky lawyer to help him get there.
But I do like the scenes when he's outside of prison, when he's like especially the last scene when they go and finally like make that hit, him and his friend. That's a crazy scene.
Amazing. Yeah, I wanted to talk about that.
His friend, I want to also talk about a little bit.
Yeah, I think that can be kind of the same conversation. Let's talk about Riyadh.
Yeah. He kind of came out of nowhere in my mind. Like, not super out of nowhere. Like, I know he was, like, helping him study, which...
Yeah.
By the way, Malik is not a dumb person. He is actually rather intelligent.
Mm-hmm.
If he had grown up in, like, maybe a bit of a better home or something, he would have been probably really successful because he's a fast learner. He picks up on stuff quick.
He learned a new
he learned
language.
Corsican.
Yeah, he learned Corsican on his own by just reading a dictionary
And
and listening to these guys talk.
And the guy was mad at him.
Yeah, which was stupid.
He
Yeah,
should have
that
killed
was
him
dumb
then
shit.
too. Another time when he
But
should've killed him.
yeah, Riyadh, like, he was cool, but like I couldn't also pick up on him. He at one point seemed like he was like his friend that was like on the straight and narrow, who like made a couple of bad
Yeah.
choices, but he was trying to get his life in order. And then suddenly he's like, without any sort of weird like conversation that I picked up on, suddenly he's like, oh yeah, we're gonna run like this giant bundle of weed.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, sure, I'm in.
He did.
No
at
questions
that point-
asked. What?
At that point, he seemed like he'd be the type of character to be like, "What are you doing? I'm trying to like go straight."
Yeah.
And he was like,
Yeah,
"No, I'm
I have a
fucking in."
family.
Yeah.
And it's like,
I
no,
did
never
also
mind.
feel like their friendship came out of nowhere. Like they like hung out a couple of times in prison, and then all of a sudden they're like best friends starting a crime ring together. It's like, what?
Yeah.
Well, I think
I agree.
That plays into the kind of the nature of like the aqueous time. Like all of a sudden we're like 3 years in. It's linear in the fact that it doesn't jump back and forth, but it's not delineated very well. Like it says 1 year, but it never tells us 2 years or 3 years.
I feel like that is detrimental though to the characters' relationship development. Like
Yeah,
between
I
people,
mean,
I'm like, because
get
it doesn't make any sense to me. Like, it's just if you're skipping so much of the actual development, and the movie's still this long, like, what are you actually showing us?
I just
Yeah.
think that it prioritizes other things over friendship. It prioritizes how brutal it is for him when he gets to prison, the shit he has to go through with the Corsicans to kind of become what he does. And then also, like, I think it's tough to take these trips outside prison without giving them their due time, run time. Like,
But I feel like if you're not showing us these relationships, you're not making us care about any of the characters.
Yeah.
Like why do I care about these characters if I see no development between them
I
before?
cared about Malik and Malik only.
I don't think
And I
that's
guess
I don't
in a
think that's
way-
a sign of a great film though. If there's only one character that matters at all.
But it's about
Yeah.
him, and it's about him specifically. It's about there are people that are ancillary to him. Sure, like you probably should care about Riyadh, but maybe their version of that is introducing a wife and a kid. In the first time
That didn't do anything.
Classic.
Yeah, that was so
Classic.
throwaway for me. It's like didn't matter
Yeah.
at all. But then she's at the end.
No. Exactly. Like, I would agree with you, Will, if it wasn't for the wife and kid. If it was just like, hey, this is my friend that I'm going into business with, it'd be like, all right, Malik doesn't care about any of these people, so
Yeah.
therefore we don't have to care about any of these people. But it's obvious that he does care about Riyadh
He
and
does.
Riyadh's family.
right.
So why, like, that argument doesn't really make sense at that point because, yeah, like, all we got to really make Riyadh a sympathetic character is that he has cancer.
Yeah.
And a family.
Yeah, it's all
like,
such like just plug-in throwaway things that like aren't developed. It's just like he has family, he's got cancer. Feel bad for him and love him? I don't know.
Yeah, kind of. He helped Malik study English a bit, I think, if that was the same character. Cause
yeah, it is.
Yeah, so it's like, or not English, French.
Yeah.
Just being able to read and write.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he just kind of comes and it's like, hey, I'm your best friend. All right.
I mean, I liked his character. I liked
like
I
him.
wanted more. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I wanted more, but I wanted more also to be... I feel like I would be okay with the amount that we got if he was consistent, if that makes sense.
No, yeah, I think that makes sense.
He starts out as a straight man and then ends with Malik being like, I'm not sure they want us to do a hit. And he's like, I'll do a hit.
Does he start as a straight man, though? I mean,
he seems like a straight man. He's like, is he? He's not the one.
He gives
That's
him hash.
the gypsy.
He drops it on the table. No. He
Malik
to visit,
gives him
he
hash,
goes to
yeah.
visit Riyadh and gives him hash, yeah.
Regardless, Malik's talking about like a real job and like I'm going to have this like good, legit job, support my family and stuff when I get out. And then...
Yeah, that mechanic.
He suddenly is like running like, yeah, what's even up with the mechanic? Because they like go to see him.
Front. I mean, it's
once.
very
Cover,
throwaway. Yeah,
I guess, but like, yeah, so they go. I don't know. Malik seems like the straight man, and then by the end, he's like on board with the hit before Malik even is.
Yeah, but
like,
he's dying. I mean, he's on board because he knows he's dying in the next 6 weeks.
Yeah,
he literally says
I get that.
Yeah,
I get that.
He doesn't want to take the treatment. Not again.
But it's still... He's almost there to serve whatever Malik's purpose... Like, whatever Malik needs to have done.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Like, he gets captured by Lafayette, or whatever that guy's name is.
Oh, yeah.
What was it? The Egyptian.
The Egyptian.
The Egyptian guy.
I wanted more about that guy.
Like,
I wonder what he's got going on.
Yeah. That was the whole plot that kind of just, like, went halfway and then just got dropped. Like,
no, they settled it. They settled it, yeah. They got him
They resolved it, but they
stop.
resolved it... They resolved it so quickly. Like, with, like,
what are you supposed
nothing.
to do?
Yeah, they beat the shit out of his, like, brother-in-law.
Yeah.
But that wasn't even what resolved it. What resolved it was talking to the other guy.
Let's
Yeah.
rush.
Yeah. I don't know. There was a couple of things that it feels like they set up and drop plot points really quickly, but like not quick enough for them to be stored. Like, I get being like, hey, here's a thing, and he's going to get it done real fast because he's got all these connections and he's a boss now. They spent enough time on them to make them seem like they're major plot points, and then wrap them up real quick and move on to the next thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe this is me being dumb, but that's...
No, I don't think so.
I don't think it's you.
I just,
dumb
I,
at all, dude.
no, yeah. I just think I don't have quite the same... the value system is what I have in my head. I don't think that's quite the right phrase for it, but...
That's fair enough.
Yeah,
Teach their
I
own.
just don't... Those things don't bother me as much as they seem to bother you, I guess.
It's more just a gripe.
Yeah.
It's not so much that it bothered me. It's just something that it's like,
Yeah.
That's
something
fair.
that wasn't... I do appreciate him sowing chaos, though, with not killing the hit target.
Yeah. That scene
That was
so
really good. That was so good. I really appreciated that scene, actually. And then him, like, purposely going into the hole.
Yeah.
Into the hole so he would, like,
Yeah, that was
be
good.
out of the chaos.
Yeah.
It's great.
That was really good.
Smart man. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, it seems like that's all we got. Any stray thoughts?
Jordy was pretty classic. The drug
gypsy?
dealer guy. Yeah.
He's a piece of shit.
What do you mean he's classic?
He introduced fucking heroin. I'm out. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, he's
And,
like,
like, I
want to
really
try.
thought-
Like we talked about with Goodfellas, I don't
Wanna
want to fucking
try.
see them doing drugs. I don't want it. You can smoke weed and hash all you want. As soon as there's a needle involved, it bums me out. He's like doped out of his mind at the Christmas party. That's just a bummer to me. I don't want to see it. So
I do
fuck
appreciate
Jordy.
that it seems like he doesn't do it again though.
He doesn't. Yeah.
Fair. It's a one-time
So
thing.
I do appreciate that. Like, I thought the same thing when that happened. I was like, crap, we're getting another friggin' Scarface or
Too
Goodfellas
obvious.
moment.
It's too obvious.
Yeah.
That wouldn't be very French of them, Trevor.
And then suddenly it's like, nah, that never gets brought up again.
Yeah.
He did heroin one time.
He's got strong willpower. One and done.
That scene with him dancing with his guilt ghost,
Love it.
Riyab, that was wild. That was some wild stuff. What
good.
was that, man?
It's a good scene. Powerful things. All right, homies. I think that's probably all we got, right?
Sure.
Thank you for watching.
I feel like
Sorry
I
it
ranted a
wasn't
lot.
as big a
Sorry.
hit. No, it's
Sorry.
good. I feel like I'm usually the ranter, so I'm glad to have not been the one who's been yelling about something the whole episode for once. You can be it, Trev, this week.
I am the one that yelled.
Although I also, to be fair, I don't think that was the case. You said that, so I piled on, but I don't think you yelled at all. I think we all had a
I don't
pretty
think so. Yeah.
measured
okay.
discussion about it.
Good deal.
It's a divisive
Sorry.
film, and I think that's dope.
Yeah.
Check it out if for some reason you're still here and haven't seen it and you're
If
interested.
for some reason
I would
you're
still
here,
recommend it.
though, okay, yeah, fine. I wouldn't. If you made it to this
I would
point in the podcast and haven't watched it, then no. If they stopped at the beginning when we first did the review before the spoiler section, yes, go watch it. At this point, you've heard everything that happens.
I think regardless, I would still soft recommend it. I think it's a soft recommend. I think that
If you want to see a really wonderful performance that probably made this dude's entire career,
That's
check it
fair.
out.
That's very fair.
Cool.
If you're in it
All right,
for the
y'all.
plot, then we've explained all the plot already. So.
Yeah, don't come for the plot. Come for the performance. All
The
right.
performance was fantastic.
I think that's it, guys. It was great
Right
to
on.
see you
All
both.
right, guys, that was fun.
Thank you for listening. Have a wonderful week. We'll,
Next
catch
week
y'all
is
next time.
me.
peace.
I'm next week. Goodbye.
Bye, y'all.